All right. Hello and welcome to Drinking Buddies. I'm Phil from Beer Goals, and today my beer goal is to have a beer with my buddies. And I'm really excited today because we got a couple of great guys that are going to be drinking with us. And I hope that you guys are drinking along at home. It'll make everything go a lot better for everyone. So let us know in the comments what you're drinking and where you're from, and we'll give you a shout out and a cheers. My first guest is an old friend of mine from my National Lampoon days. He's a very funny comedian that you can hear on the MFers podcast, the Mother Effers podcast. It's a family podcast. And he's normally traveling the world and here in LA at the Comedy Store and the Improv doing comedy. But now he's live appearing on his couch. Please welcome Sandy Danto. Say cheers, Sandy.
Cheers, buddy. I'm actually in my bed, which is even better.
All right. And then, so the point of Drinking Buddies, Sandy's across town from me, actually, here in California. But for Drinking Buddies, we're trying to drink beers with people in all 50 states. And we have a very special guest, a beer aficionado, a home brewer. We have Jeramie Crawford from a really great Facebook page and YouTube channel, The Chug. So Jeramie coming in from all the way from Dallas, Texas. Cheers, Jeramie.
Hey.
All right. We finally got you hooked up.
There it is. Right on, man.
All right. Cheers, guys. Glad to have you here. So like I said, everybody drinking along at home, let us know in the comments with the hashtag beer goals what you are drinking. But first, Jeramie, tell us a little bit about what beer are you drinking with us tonight?
What are you drinking? Man, I'm lubricating the nerves a little bit. So it's this is off the homebrew tap. We'll break into some local breweries here in a minute. But this is a 9% Belgian Brett.
Ooh, wow.
That I kept. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's kind of sweet tartish. Yeah, man, I don't even know what I'll say about it. It's weird, but it's cool. It's
9%.
Dump this out.
Wow.
Yeah, man, I figured let's just get this rocking from the get-go. So,
yeah.
It's a good beer.
Yeah. Sandy, what are you drinking, buddy? So Sandy, you are not like would you say you're a beer guy or no? You're kind of
I once was, but I got out of the game. I stopped drinking. I tell people I don't drink because it's easier than trying to explain the intricacies of I drink once in a while, usually when I'm on vacation or at a wedding, because I don't want to have to deal with the reality of a hangover the next day when I have responsibilities. It's easier to tell people I don't drink. And
okay, so you're a secret drinker. You're one of those. Okay, so this is a special night for you.
In the closet. But I really don't drink too much. This is actually the first beer I've cracked open in a very long time.
Wow!
And I'm doing it just for you. And I'm drinking Bell's Brewery, which it's a craft brewery, but it's one of the it's old hat, if you will. But I'm from Michigan. Bell's is Michigan, and my wife loves Two Hearted Ale. I love Two Hearted Ale. It's a nice hoppy IPA.
That's awesome.
Don't get. I'm
no beer shaming here. That's a great brewery, man.
Actually, it's a Bell's bottle I found in the dumpster, and I filled it with Natty Light, so I wouldn't look lame.
No craft, no beer shaming here. We drink craft. We love all kinds of beers, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. So I appreciate that. That's very cool. Well, I'm actually drinking. So one of my beer goals is to drink 50 beers in 50 states. So I'm doing some Michigan beers, and one of my 50 beers for Illinois is this awesome Daisy Cutter Pale Ale from the good folks at Half Acre Beer Company out of Chicago, Illinois. My awesome webcam can show the detail here on the can art. Daisy Cutter. It actually it says it's a pale ale, but I don't know, Jeremy, if you're familiar with this, it's like a pale ale that tastes almost like a hazy. I don't know if that's a thing or not, but it's very fruity. It's very citrusy. It's like it's got a good nose on it. That's what I tell people to try to sound like I know what I'm talking about beer tasting. I'm like, oh, that's got a good nose on it. I heard somebody say that wine tasting once, and from now on, I'm always like, oh yeah, it's got a real nose on it. So
nice. The whiskey.
This one does though. It's very citrusy.
My beer has a real cleft lip on it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Wow, very cool. Yeah. So, all right. So, so Sandy and I are in California. You're in Texas, Jeramie. So, cheers from California to Texas. All right.
For sure.
Give it
For
toast,
sure.
drinking buddies. That's what it's all about. And let us know in the comments where you guys are from, what you guys are drinking. Let us know. That's really awesome. So Jeramie, tell us a little about, you're with the Chug. I've been watching some of your videos. You do some great interviews on there. Tell us a little bit about the Chug and what you guys are up to and your home brewing situation. And yeah, what are you doing?
Not right on, man. It's a good time. We've been struggling with it for the last year, getting them out. We try to get the production on real good, like you're watching a TV show, So,
unlike this show,
but it takes a while when you have grown-up responsibilities and jobs, and you're just a bunch of cats trying to hang on to something creative in our old age. And then we got a big list of red flags on YouTube after the first episode, and we're like, shit. So we took time off for that, but it's a fun time, man. We have singers, comedians,
too much beer,
filmmakers, and we have local. Yeah, and we have brewers come on, and they bring 3 beers, and basically we just drink a lot of beer and tell goofy beer stories, and that's about it,
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what? So you actually are you with a brewer? Because you guys broadcast out of a bar. Are you? And then you homebrew your own beer. Okay, yeah, that's really cool. So what?
I live in a bar, and I brew moonshine out of my house.
Are you seriously? That's awesome. I'm hoping you're being serious.
No,
I was so hoping you were being serious.
I would be so much cooler if that was the case.
No, man.
I would drink your moonshine.
We were talking about
I would make good
heartbeat.
Go ahead, Jeramie.
You should do it. No, it's funny. Like the craft beer thing, I always say that the only reason I'm into craft beer is because it came around. Like, I mean, I've been drinking beer for 20-something years, and it was just, you just chase the next thing that tasted good. So when craft came in and came out with 900 different flavors, it was like, why the hell would I not get into this? I was already drinking everything I get my hands on anyway. So
that's awesome. I got into craft beer because, like, everybody, you go to a bar and everyone's like into cocktails, like, oh, I got to mix a cocktail, I got to make this, they light it on fire, and I'm like, I'm way too lazy. Like, I just like to open something and drink it. And then, when the craft beer started getting big, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I will have a chocolate bacon maple porter. That sounds delicious.
Yeah, man.
Don't make fun of me. I'm going to drink it. So cheers to weird tasting beers that you don't have to prepare.
Yeah, man. I don't make fun of anybody for drinking any beer. Like, you want to crack open some natties and do it. Let's have a party. I mean, part of our whole thing with this show is trying to be like, this beer is fun. Let's not forget that beer is just about getting fucked up and having fun. So
that's right.
And now it can just taste better while you do it.
What is there any beer or any beer behavior that you guys would shame? Like, what if I butt chugged a Michelob Ultra right now?
You know what? You do you, man. Personally, I'm all for all types of beer experience, man. If you want to butt chug a Michelob Ultra, top it off with a Coors Light and a Heineken, I mean, you do you, man. But I don't know. Like, I know there's people that are like, oh man, that's weird. But like, I at Beer Goals, we accept all forms of beer appreciation because we appreciate the hops and the barley and the yeast. So you do you, Sandy.
Okay, I like the craft beer community, the least judgmental of the niche consumption communities.
Yeah.
Well, the funny part is with the Chug is at the very end, we take one of the 3 beers the brewery brings, and you've seen it, Phil, when we chug it. I mean, with the brewer that made it, the whole point of that was just basically to troll beer snobs because, man, any brewer out there, like the whole thing, you can't chug that because it's not made for that.
Yeah.
But we got the guy that made it chugging it, so fuck off, that was kind of the whole
That's
point
awesome. Well, I actually love speaking of all the weird subcultures. So there's the Chug community, there's the bottle share. Oh, and something I'm getting into, which I hope to talk to someone next week who is actually into drinking old beers. And like, so that's separate from like the aging beers. So you can buy like a really nice beer that's made for aging, kind of like wine. But then there's a separate community of people who drink like vintage beers. Like, Sandy, you would love this. So like, you find a Coors Light under the floorboards in your house from like the 1970s, and you drink it. Like, that's a thing like people are into. So like, I would totally want to find like a beer from like the 1960s, like a yeah, I don't know. I guess it's bad. I don't know. They try it. They're like, oh, this is like a Heineken from 1952. Like, let's drink that. Because to me, out of everything, go ahead.
At what point is it not a collector's item? Like, I have toys that I've kept in the package that I want to take out. Of course, any toy like that, a beer that old is like, you want to keep it in its pristine condition as much as you can.
Original package. No, it's like the sneaker guys. You have one beer that you drink and one beer that you put on the shelf. So that could be like a whole thing. That could be a whole thing. I'm gonna have like a wall of beers. Like, you're just gonna look behind me on my wall. They'll be like, "What are all those beers behind you? You're not drinking." Oh, that's my vintage beer collection. So see, there's so many weird things you could get into, man, guys. Like, you just.
That's so funny because my brother is a huge craft beer guy. Huge.
Nice.
And he has a huge collection. He'll drive all over the place for beer releases, and he does bottle shares with a lot of people.
Wow! But, so there's a Danto who's a beer Danto. I gotta talk to him. That's awesome.
We're like Rick and Morty's, and he's the beer Danto.
The beer Danto. Oh my gosh! Yeah, the alternate universe beer Danto. I gotta talk to beer Danto.
You do. I make me in touch with him. But my sister was saying that
talking to you. Get beer Danto.
But he's more of the expert in craft beer. But my sister was telling me, because I've been asking, I was like, "Are you going through all your beers in the quarantine?" He's like, "Not really. I'll have one here and there." I was like, "What do you have all these beers for if you're not drinking them in the quarantine?" And he gave like a really nice 12-pack to my sister's boyfriend for his birthday, and they drank it, and they said it had gone bad. So he's just holding on to all these beers. They're going bad.
That's a thing.
That's amazing. Yeah. What about you, Jeramie? Do you have beers you hold on to? Are you into the aging scene at all?
Nah, man. I got a couple that are. The oldest one I had, I actually drank like a 2016 Jubilee the other day, celebration. That's the oldest thing I've had. I mean, I've got some homebrews I've barrel aged, and those are a year or two old now, 3 years. I got some meads that are old, but it's funny though. I'm in a messenger group called Eastsiders here in Dallas, and they're a bunch of just beer guys, and we just go down there and tell jokes all day. But these guys are quarantined now, and they're actually like cellar guys. So every night, come 11 o'clock, they're pulling out crazy like 12-year-old, barley wines and whatever other beers they have, and just blasting them over.
Wow, that's a scene I got to get into.
I don't have.
I've been to one of those, and it's a whole thing, man. They're just like, here, try some of this, try some of that. This is good stuff. This is like high ABV beers. I mean, it's almost like drinking like really expensive wine. So you have a couple of those. You're like, oh, I'm just gonna sip. I'm gonna try a couple tastes, and you're good. You're good for the night after. Like, at least for me, man. I don't know. I gotta like work out and like get my tolerance up. Start going to these bottle shares. Be a whole adventure.
It's a cool thing. If I buy beer, I drink it. So I'm bad at keeping it.
For the foreseeable future, this is what a bottle share looks like.
Right.
Roger Odell says, I've got a Coors Field bottle of beer from 1995. Who wants to drink it? That sounds awesome, Roger. I would totally try that. I would love to try. I would like 95. 25 years. Yeah, wow. I would totally drink a 25-year-old beer. That's awesome.
Yeah, if you don't send that to Phil, send it to us and we'll drink it on the Chug.
I only drink beers that are old enough to drink themselves.
There you go.
What's that? I'm sorry, dude. What was that?
I only drink beers that are
there you
go.
Let's see. Keith is drinking a Clown Shoes Hammer of the Holy with blue agave. Well, what is that? How do you? I don't even know how to pronounce that. Agave. That's that fruit, right? That sounds delicious.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
The problem with aging beers like that, man, is most beers are made to be drank fresh. So the problem with aging a lot of those, you spend the money on them, then you let them sit there for 3 years, you drink them, and you're like, God damn, I shot this when I bought it. Drank it when I bought it.
Yeah.
I had that happen several times, so now I've just kind of quit keeping them. It's
like, just drink it. Oh, man, we got our buddy...
What's that?
Exactly. So speaking of beers, Glenn Lewis I got some James Bond Heineken beer from the 25th anniversary. Yeah, cheers to Glenn. That's awesome.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Hey,
so
Glenn
yeah, I gotta
Lewis,
get in.
that
I gotta
dude's-
get into the aging and the vintage beer scene.
So Glenn Lewis is from Barbados, and he has a beer festival down
He
there.
won your
He
thing,
just won
right?
our Chug contest.
Yeah,
Yeah, he just won our glass and T-shirt. and
yeah,
$5 in beer
that's right. I
money.
saw that.
Yeah, that's cool. What's up, Glenn?
That's awesome. Cheers to Barbados.
Yeah,
If I knew beer drinking would take me to Barbados, I would get more into beer drinking.
I would get more into everything if I was in Barbados, I think.
Right?
I've got a weird
Yeah.
fascination in Barbados because it was Sam Malone's default vacation spot for every girl he tried to pick up. He's like, let's just leave and jump on a plane to Barbados.
Oh, and Cheers.
Remember
That's
that on
awesome.
Cheers? That was Sam Malone's default
Oh, that
thing was Barbados. I've known shit about Barbados, and my whole life I've been a little fascinated with it. Just for that reason.
That's hysterical. That's
God damn,
hysterical.
that
Well, guys, I was going to bring up, speaking of beers, we got some weird beer news. This actually, Sandy, this made me think of you for some reason. But here, I'm going to pull this up if you guys can see it. So the Moondog Brewery in Melbourne, Australia is offering free beers for Australia's best mullet. So you basically
Nice.
have to grow a mullet, and then they'll decide who has the best mullet, best hair, and then they'll give you free beer. Unfortunately for us, you have to go all the way to Australia, but maybe we can
Australia is
find a
an
beer lover in
awesome
Australia
place to
that'll
go
send
to.
us.
Sometimes I wear my hair like this when I'm working out. My wife's like, it looks like you have a mullet. And we joked about her giving me a mullet, cutting my hair into a mullet. But I realized, like,
I think out of the three
there's
of us-
never going to be another time in my life that I could grow my hair long like this and have an excuse to keep it long. So I'm not doing the mullet.
You should do it, and you and Theo go do a double.
Well, I think out of
Australia and win the
Out
year
of the three of us, you would win.
What's that? Out of the three of us, I could pull off a mullet, you think?
Well, I think you could. I think you would win this contest. And what I was going to say is the problem with this contest for this brewery is how are they going to decide who wins? Like, I think at this point with the quarantine, like, look, I'm getting shaggy. Everybody's got a mullet now, right? Like, everybody's got the quarantine mullet. So they're gonna have to give away all the free beer. Like, it's crazy. Like, how are they gonna?
Here's how you win a mullet contest. You have to have a mullet with a rat tail.
Yes, yes.
Nice.
Only
There's
rat
no
tails
harder
that would
party
definitely
when
win.
you're back than a rat tail.
Sandy's got a plan.
I have a joke in my act where I'm like, my kids will definitely
All
have
right,
rat
so
tails.
this is
Because even child molesters are grossed out by a rat tail.
Oh, that's awesome. Seriously, I love it. Dude,
oh
this is
yeah,
the
that's a
first
good
time.
plan.
This is the first time I've done
keeps
this
them
live
away.
stream thing. And
Let's see. We got some comments. Andrew is drinking a corn.
so nothing like a live stream.
Well, go
to
ahead, Jeramie.
Nothing like a live stream to make you understand how far away we are from perfect internet access.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've
Yes,
done this.
yeah.
It's like, whoa, wait,
I think
what?
the internet's been drinking some hoppy beers. I think the internet today has been drinking a couple of hoppy beers.
We're allowed to keep like pouring beers, right?
Wow.
No, there are rules to this live.
So yeah, so I was gonna actually, speaking of beers, did you guys see this one? The yeah, keep going, man. Keep pouring some beers. I was gonna say, so if you guys saw this, there've been some crazy quarantine themed beers that have been going out there, and this is actually Wisconsin brewery, Ale Asylum has a message for coronavirus. They have a fuck COVID beer, so that's pretty cool. Cheers to that. Sandy, what would your COVID themed beer be?
It would be all right. So you know how in college you gain the freshman 15 from all the beer drinking you do? Mine would be gain the COVID-19 with Sandy's homebrew now with extra PCP.
That's great. Gain the COVID-19 with extra PCP. I would, except for the PCP part, I would drink a Sandy beer for that. That sounds that weirdly sounds delicious. I don't know. That would
the
actually
stout
the virus.
that are like that you said, the bacon, chocolate, peanut butter stout or whatever. I know my brother has a few beers like that.
Yeah.
My beer would be more of a gluttonous dessert beer. Mine would be like a butter
beer, like a beer that makes you sound like you're getting fatter.
Yeah, exactly.
beers that you sound fatter drinking it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there was another beer. There was actually a brewery out of Georgia. There was a brewery out of Georgia that has a Dr. Fauci beer and I think it's like a stay away from me beer. So people are coming up with creative beer names to kind of help us all get through this and encourage people to go out to their local breweries and buy those beers. How's that doing in Texas, Jeramie? Are breweries kind of stepping up with delivery and curbside pickup? I know is a thing here in Los Angeles.
Yeah, man.
So you guys have that in Dallas, like
curbsides. I think there's some random ways you can get deliveries, but there's definitely curbsides and Grizzly, I guess. But the coolest part of it is, I think the best part of quarantine is that with everybody doing to go, all the breweries bought crowler machines, and they all bought a shitload of 32-ounce cans. So
nice.
It's like every time you buy a beer and open one, you have to drink 3. Or else you're an asshole for pouring it out. So, it's, I like it.
Yeah.
It's good for me. I dig it.
It's making us drink more. It's getting everybody. Yeah. Supporting your local craft brewery and drinking more.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, everybody's got their thing and struggling to make it happen or whatever. But I don't know. It's cool. And as far as like the beer names, I mean, it's funny. It's like, I love the fact that it is breweries that are coming up and just like, jamming a stick at this whole stupid thing and make fun of it because again, as much as everybody wants to kind of rock star out the brewers, it's like they're just fucking beer guys, man. They're just sitting around drinking beer and trying to make each other laugh, and so it makes sense that it's beers that are trying to make a stupid mockery of this whole dumb shit to begin with.
Exactly. You feel free to belch, by the way, guys.
Obviously, it's a
thing. Yeah, they're just coming up with fun stuff.
This is transmissible through Zoom and live stream.
Through Facebook live stream, everybody. We don't want to do that. I'm
in construction in my day job, and there is no higher anxiety I have than being in Home Depot every day and needing to sneeze because you walk by the saw, and just like every time it's like, oh fuck, I'm about to freak everybody out.
It's just allergies. Allergies. Like I'm on a ventilator, I'm like, it's just allergies.
Exactly.
When the bars and breweries finally
do, I know out there.
When they finally do open back up, everybody's going to be like sneezing into their beers, just like whoa,
That's actually my craft beer.
The essence of Sandy.
Sounds delicious. Yeah, but Sandy, you know what's funny is, Sandy, I've always kind of been a little bit jealous of you because you've always been out there, touring the world, up on stage, making people laugh. And I've been, for whatever reason, just like can't get off my couch. But you know what? I feel kind of better about my life choices because now we're both in the same position. And like we're both we're both here. We're both sitting on the couch drinking a beer, and I'm kind of made for this world. You know what I mean? Like I'm very made for this. Right now, drinking a beer, screaming into my computer. So,
COVID's the great FU.
Well, I'm glad that suits your skill set. It's also useful for mine, but it's just hard to slow down, and it's also you have to stop a few times every day and quiet the existential doom that the career you've put a lot of your life into may not be there when the smoke clears.
No, man, you know what, though? You can always come on Drinking Buddies. Doing stand-up in front of a live audience is fun, but have you had a beer with Phil?
Hold my beer.
That's right.
Man,
that's right. Well, I got...
the longest you've...
Oh, go ahead.
I know this is forcing a weird situation for you guys, Sandy. Like, what's the longest you've gone without doing a set? Like, what kind of rust is going to build up on that?
This is the longest. I've been fortunate to do a few shows over Zoom, which were not the same, but much better than I expected.
Oh, that's cool.
But man, this is the longest. So what? It's been almost 2 months. The longest I've ever gone since I started. The longest before this I had gone was maybe like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And that felt like forever, and there was a lot of rust.
Yeah, I would imagine.
So this is like especially very hard.
Right. So it's kind of hitting the comedy world the same way it's hitting the beer world. Like there's just everybody's going to be, the same kind of pot. Like scared to open back up, and then like, everybody's going to be rusty. It's why what we got to keep drinking, keep telling jokes. So we'll be here for you.
So I don't know what's going to be like. Everybody's return set is going to be like the storied Chris Rock Comedy Store drop-ins where he's like, this shit ain't going to be funny, but hang with it.
Yeah. Well, I did an online show, and the guy running it was like, don't do any quarantine or corona jokes. I was like, I'm not just go back to doing the jokes I did before all this.
When you're trying to get a parking spot and like what? Like
I hate it when you're in a big crowd and somebody bumps into you.
Yeah. Oh man.
Well, yeah, but when Earnhardt and the Wright brothers were flying, airplane jokes are still funny then too. So I mean, who cares if everybody's doing it? It's kind of like what's going on?
That'd be like, don't do any 9/11 jokes on 9/12.
Jesus Christ.
But when you're a comedian, you're compelled to do the taboo.
Yeah,
sure. That's why I think it's great that a lot of the breweries are actually like coming out with sort of those kind of crazy names, like they're like fuck COVID, like stay away from me pale ale. Like I think it's kind of cool, it's like don't shy away from it. I think that's pretty cool. So did you guys
quarantine and don't drink this if you're pregnant?
Yeah, like I've been saying,
or the only thing blame it on COVID.
The only thing we're not socially distancing is this beer going into my mouth.
Word. This thing's a trip, dude. So this is from Oak Cliff, who's on the episode we just released Friday, episode 5, I think it was. And this is like a new one they've done with their Berliner Weiss. So this is a cucumber and lime Berliner Weiss. And it's kind of inspired by the Mexican paletas carts, It's pretty goddamn good, dude. I'm not even a cucumber
I love a good
guy.
wheat beer. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's good.
I love a good Weiss beer. That's awesome. So speaking of beer, did you guys see this one? Did you guys see this one? So this could actually be like a wacky movie. More than 1 million kegs of beer are sitting empty in stadiums, bars, and restaurants across the U.S. as breweries plan to deal with $1 billion fine, which is terrible. Everyone's losing a lot of money. So basically, what happened is, so you have to remember, like everything started closing down. The state started enacting the quarantine right at the beginning of March. It was going to be St. Patrick's Day. There was March Madness. So all these kegs went out to stadiums and bars and breweries. Like everybody was stocking up, and then boom, like nobody's there, nobody could buy them. So what happened is, I guess in stadiums too, for all the March Madness and all the games coming up. So there's just all these kegs of beer just sitting there. And what I'm thinking, what a new beer goal could be, is we actually like go, and it's like a heist movie. Like we go like break into the stadium to like rescue all the kegs of beer before they're, before they go stale, before they're drinking them. But it's terrible. Like, what are they going to do with all this beer? They can't it's going to go to waste. It'll go bad. So we've got to, Sandy.
I have 2 solutions, because obviously if all this beer is going bad due to lack of partying on St. Patrick's Day and March Madness and sporting events in general.
Yeah.
That also means there's a surplus of chicken wings and pizza and nachos. So what I'm proposing is, there's a lot of food insecurity out there. Forget government cheese. What about government chicken wings and beer?
Yes. Let's do it. Cheers.
Like maybe you can get give me half surplus, half chicken wings and beer.
Yeah. Instead of government checks, instead of $1,200 a month, let's just have a big party. But the problem is you have to have the party in quarantine. So it's like you and your family, everybody gets a delivery, it'll say, from the government. Here's your government chicken wings, beer supply. Everybody gets a keg. We're gonna keg this quarantine.
But if everyone gets it, then they can just party over Zoom.
Yes. Quarantine Zoom party. Quarantine keg party.
We'll find a way.
Sponsored by the U.S. government.
Or if they make it like super discounted. They make it like super discounted. Like you pay a couple bucks or like you bid on the kegs. Somebody comes to your door like dressed up in like a hazmat suit. You get your keg delivered. And the proceeds go to the people who need it. It goes to the restaurant workers, people out of work in the restaurant industry, and the bars and breweries get a cut of that. Sandy, this could be a real thing. Let's make this a beer goal.
That was my initial thought. I mean, just open it up, say, bring your container. You have a bunch of homeless people showing up with milk jugs and shit. Fuck it. Just fill them up, just for whatever spare change you got in your pocket. Just give it out, man. Like, I
100% agree.
I once did that in college. I drank a keg with my buddy. Like we had a keg, but we weren't that popular. So we had a keg party, but not enough people came to actually finish the keg. So we were stuck with this keg of beer. So we had to finish it because nobody came to our party because we were losers. So I just remember standing in the backyard with my buddy, just like trying to finish a keg. It was a lot of beer. It's like really hard to kick a keg. Like we were just out there all night, like passing it back and forth. Like
yeah, man.
I was miserable.
And I've also filled up.
Me too.
Jugs. And back before growlers, like 20 years ago, I remember we went and actually bought like gallon water jugs and milk jugs. And just poured them all out so that we could drain the keg into those milk jugs and put them in the fridge. And I think half of them were flat by the time we got around to drinking it, but we had to get the keg back. We didn't want to take it back full.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. That's smart. Yeah, I wasn't even that smart. I just tried to drink the whole thing in a night.
We just didn't want to. We just wanted the beer. We didn't want to lose the beer.
Yeah,
like
that's
the keg's
amazing.
Expensive.
If only you could freeze beer the way you can freeze extra food.
Oh yeah, like chicken in your freezer. You just have frozen beers. I'm sure craft beer guys are just like, no, you cannot do that.
No, I know you can't, but I said if only.
So reality is all right, to get nerdy on you for a second.
No, please do.
I've had in my fermenter here, where I've forgot to put my temperature probe in, and so my cooler just kept running and it dropped down like as cold as it would get, and I froze 2 kegs solid, and I had to I had an event coming up the following week, and so I just dropped the temperature, let it thaw out. It was completely fine. The thing in bottles doesn't work very good because the bottles build pressure and they explode. Everybody's done that shit where you put one in there to cool it off and forget about it, and then you go in and the cap's popped out and it's bleeding all over the place and fucks up your freezer. But if you have it in something that'll hold pressure, you can absolutely freeze beer and thaw it out, and it's fine. I mean, it's fine. I challenge anyone to know the difference. But the second part you can do, Sandy, is if you freeze that, you can slowly. The great part is if you pay attention to the freezing. The water will start, the alcohol won't really freeze. So there's a distilling process. They call them ice box, where you can take a beer, you can take like an 8% beer and turn it into like a 17% beer. So it's called freeze distillation. Yeah. So you freeze it, you slowly start to thaw it. And what thaws first is the alcohol. And then you pull that off. So what starts out as a gallon of beer will probably only be like 32 ounces, but it's fucking high octane. Yeah.
Wow. So you could take you could take an 8% and convert it into a 17% beer. That's amazing.
I don't know
That's
what the exact math, but yeah, it's somewhere in there. So what happens is you concentrate it. So basically you're freezing the water and you're throwing that shit out and you're keeping the good shit.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you can ever find one, like there's a German thing called an Eisbock, and that's what it's about. And there's a local brewery, I won't say, a friend of mine who used to be a California brewer. They recently brewed one. And basically what he did was they had their full batch. He filled up 1 keg and stuck it in the freezer and then let it slowly thaw and pulled it all off. And I think ended up with like maybe half a keg. And it was like an 18% beer that was crazy smooth. And you would just, it was ridiculous.
That's amazing. That's like the high, it's like Breaking Bad. That's like the
that
Heisenberg
seems
of
like-
beer.
That seems like what Coors is trying to get you to think that their beer is.
Yeah, yeah.
So remember those stupid ice beers that came out that they talked about being so smooth back in the day, Ice House and Bud Ice.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that was kind of the concept. So most of those were like 6% beers.
Wow.
So instead of just lagering
never knew
cold,
that.
you'd freeze them.
Molson
And that's why
Ice
they
is
were
the
all
one
like
I-
6 and 7% too. They were more than like a Bud Light. The Bud Ice was like 6%.
Oh,
They weren't
man.
concentrated as much as like an ice bot, but that was the general concept. And then
Wait.
it also comes out very smooth and high octane.
I just have to
sorry,
back
man.
up.
I just hijacked
Wait, no,
this beer thing. So-
wait. Because I'm kind of freaking out right now because I just learned something from sitting here with you guys on Drinking Buddies. Like I just,
Yeah, me
I
too.
literally
I'm
just
sorry.
learned, I literally just learned something, and I can't wait so we can, after quarantine, I can go to like bars and be like, you guys know, like the reason it's called ice, and I'm gonna like explain the whole thing, probably not as well as you just did, but I just learned something about beer. Like, wow, thank you, Jeramie. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That was like really cool.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
Ice,
dude.
ice freeze distilling. It's illegal as shit, but you know you can do it at home.
Oh, it's illegal. Wow. I didn't know
yeah.
that.
So my buddies that have a brewery locally. That's why I was like,
That-
I won't say
Gee.
their name because it's crazy illegal. It's actually a distilling process.
Oh, so then is it technically beer? Because I know there's some of those really super high alcohol beers that they try to do like those 40% beers like in Europe, and they're like technically, if you want to be nerdy about it, they're technically not beer because of the way they do it. It's not a brewing process, it's a distilling process. Not to be technical. So is that still a beer or no? Do you do it that way?
Well, it is mainly because the ingredients involved, because it's still your malt hops, to grain water. So
Gotcha.
it is a beer, but it does go freeze it. I mean, brewers will argue that freeze distilling's fucking retarded, that it's illegal anyway.
Sure.
But whatever, it's legality.
Is a Molotov cocktail considered a beer? Because I've been brewing those at home, just in case anything happens and society breaks down.
It's a weapon.
Dude,
and it's a weapon and a
you get
beer.
a beer that you can stick a rag in and light on fire. I want to try just one sip of it.
That would be a great name for a beer. That would be great can art, because I'm obsessed with can art, like cool can art, like zombies and like weird stuff. So if there was like a Molotov cocktail, I think, you know what, I might have had one from what is it, Empire Brewing? No, I'm trying to think, maybe somewhere in New York there was a Molotov cocktail beer. Anyway. Well, thank you, Jeramie. That's awesome. I'm almost finished with my beer.
IPA.
What's that?
Everclear and IPA.
Yeah, Everclear IPA. Yeah. Well, I'm almost finished with my beer, which means I'm pretty good to go. So we're almost finished with the show. But Sandy, do you have anything else? Any other beer questions for Jeramie?
So I do have a question, actually. So I know it's really popular in craft brewing to have flavored beer or different gimmicks, and I find all those beers really tasty. But how do you get the flavors? Is it like cucumber water process where it's just infused, or is it like essential oils of whatever you're like with a chocolate bacon beer? How are they getting those flavors in there? Is it natural? Is it artificial? What do you do?
All of the, it's honestly, the answer to that is all the above. So,
nice.
Like before I got into brewing, like I hated like fruit beers. I couldn't stand them. And part of the reason was because before the craft thing, most of the fruit beers you got were using like artificial flavor extracts. So it always tasted like candy. Like you drink a beer and it tastes like a fucking Jolly Rancher. It's like, if I want something to taste like apple juice, I'll just drink fucking apple juice. You know what I mean? But now the cool thing about the craft thing is, man, people are using shit. Like, if you want a chocolate flavor, you use like a chocolate malt, and you also put in like cocoa and cacao. Like we just made a Mexican, me and a buddy just made a Mexican stout, and we put actually like that Abuelo's Mexican hot chocolate mix in it, and put in like piquin peppers. That sounds amazing. And so, it came out cool. So now people do anything. There's a brewery here. They're actually going to be on with us next week. Not to keep promoting the show. I apologize for that. But
no, please do.
They're called Brutal Beer Works. And Brutal's whole thing is they have a super small system. They make small batches every time. And remember, they're brewing like every fucking day. It's kind of a It's a crazy business plan, to be honest with you. But they are brewing like what
Yeah.
it says. So, like, for instance, they made a pineapple upside down cake something. I forget what base style it was. They literally went to Costco, got a shitload of pineapple upside down cakes and just threw them in the fucking
Yeah.
Or they had like
That's amazing.
They had a Nutter Butter stout they did, and they literally took like cases of Little Debbie Nutter Butter things and just fucking crunched them up and threw them in there. So yeah, man, it's like
that's amazing. You know what? I thought Sandy was like way off. I was like, no, it's like a whole process. I was like, holy crap, that's amazing. That's how it's actually all right. What do I know?
There's two philosophies. So actually, really quick, there's two philosophies. One is figure out what flavor you want to get to and try to use things that aren't that to obtain it. Right? Like, I don't know how to say this, but like, if you want it to taste like biscuits and chocolate, you try to use different roast levels of grains and things to try to get to that flavor. And then there's another philosophy that's kind of new where you go, fuck it, just throw in fucking biscuits and chocolate. So
that sounds a lot easier. That's how I would brew if I was.
I've
never had patience.
Dude. Yeah, it's wheels.
I've never had patience. I've never had patience for brewing, so that sounds like how I would do it. If you can just like pour stuff in there, just grab stuff out of your pantry and like start experimenting, like, oh cool, like I've got like lettuce and bacon and like tomatoes beer, like here you go.
Don't you just hate it when you're at home and you don't have Cheez-Its? Well, now there's Cheez-Its flavored beer. All you have to do, put the Cheez-Its in the beer first.
I'm down.
That's awesome.
Why not make it cheese beer?
Yeah,
man,
a beer that I would love. Oh, so I have a question. What is your guys' second favorite beer? Everybody, and in the comments too. What's your second? Because everyone's always like, "Oh, what's your favorite beer?" I'm like, I don't know. I love all beer. I like beer. I love red ales. My second favorite beer is red ales. Like I love red ales. I love. There's a man. I've had too much beer. I can't actually remember the name of it. But if you guys have a second favorite beer, what is your second favorite beer? Oh, mine's the Blood Junkie. The Blood Junkie from Three Weavers Brewing out of Inglewood, California. It's my second favorite beer because I can never say, oh, my favorite beer of all time. That's insane. That's like contemplating the universe. Like, how am I gonna say that? I can't. So my second favorite beer is the Blood Junkie.
I hate being asked to name my favorite anything because it can change. It's a day-to-day thing. So
that's why I'm saying, what's your second favorite, not your favorite?
My second favorite is Pilsner Urquell.
Oh, that's a smooth, that's a chill, it's a crisp beer.
Nice. I'd say my second favorite, which would be the default, would either be a Guinness or a Shiner. And
okay.
Probably say Shiner because Shiner's got that was that first beer I had back in '92, where a buddy snuck me into a local bar and poured me it, and it kind of was like, holy shit, this isn't Bush, and this is fucking awesome. And there's, so Shiner was that one that took me over at 16 years old snuck in a rock bar. Shiner was the one that made me go, holy shit, there's beer out there. So that'd probably be my second. Yeah.
That's awesome. Let's see.
So my favorite, Roger, hey, if you don't mind, Phil, can I ask you guys my favorite question?
Sure.
Okay, so my favorite question to ask our guests, I just want to ask you because I think it'd be fun. What was the first beer you had, and how did you get it?
Oh, man. First beer you ever had. Man, I'm trying to think. The first craft beer I had when I got into craft beer was probably a Saranac. Saranac Black and Tan beer was the first craft beer. I know what you're saying, though. Yeah, that's not what you're talking about. You're talking about like the first beer you had when you were a kid.
No, were you like
probably? I was a nerd, man. I didn't drink till late. I was a nerd. I probably had like a beer at my buddy Isaac's house in high school, and I didn't even want it. Like, if you guys are gonna drink, my buddy's dad was like, if you guys are gonna drink, like, just drink with me, and it'll be cool. And I was like, I'm not. I wasn't drinking. Like, I'm good. Like, just leave me alone. Like, I don't want the beer. But so I was a nerd. I got into beer late, but so that was probably like in high school. I probably had like a Heineken or something like that, like at my buddy's house. But I didn't I wasn't like into it. Like most kids are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get beer.
Yeah.
It's like, ironically, I got into a craft beer in college with the Saranac, which was from upstate New York. That was a great craft brewery out of Utica, New York. So I got into that. It was my craft beer love. But I know what you're talking about. The first beer. So in the comments, everybody, what is the first beer you ever had? I love that. I love it. Sandy Danto.
I remember vividly at a barbecue with my family, and it was one of my dad's friends' barbecue. I couldn't have been older than like 7 or 8, and I kept trying to get my dad to give me some of his Molson in the green bottles.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He's like, "Here,
Skunky stuff.
fine, have a sip. You're not even gonna like it." And I took a sip, and I just kept sipping, and then I started chugging. He's like, "All right, enough. Stop it."
Oh, let's see what people comes. Oh, this is my
That's
cousin Don. Cheers, Don. A Jenny Cream Ale in 8th grade. All right.
Nice.
Oh, cheers for Jenny. Cheers for Jenny Cream Ale.
Nice.
Cheers, Don. Awesome. Very cool. Jenny Cream. I love Jenny. Awesome. That's fun. Yeah, those are weird memories, man. That first beer. I actually have a picture of me when I was a kid. I think it was a joke though. There's like, here, let's get a picture of a kid drinking a beer. And I was like, but yeah. Actually having the first real beer is probably I was a late bloomer. All right, so
I got one of my good brew buddies, Austin. He's actually got a picture of him. I mean, he can't be over 11. I'm not sure, and he's about to shotgun a can, and I think it was with his dad. Actually, it's like his Facebook profile picture at this point. You know, it's kind of great. Dude, that's going all in.
That's awesome. Going all in. Awesome, guys. Well, I'm done with my beer, so I think that means we're done with the show. But I just want to thank you guys. I don't have one.
I think I'm on my third. I feel like
you're on your third beer. What are you drinking? What are you drinking now?
Yeah, man. Now I'm drinking one from Brain Dead Brewing. It's called I Like Harvey, and it's a cool IPA. It's all Amarillo hops. It's actually one of the owners of Brain Dead Brewing here in Dallas. His son's name is Harvey, and his middle name is Rogue for Rogue Brewing, his favorite brewery. And so at one of his kids' birthday parties, he asked the brewer if they would brew a something inspired by the one of their IPAs, Yellow something. I forget the name of it. And so that's what this is. This is kind of inspired by that, and it's called I Like Harvey. So this is one of their rotation beers that was literally brewed for the owner's kids' birthday party.
That's amazing. That's hysterical. Hey, I love that.
What you get from Brain Dead Brewing. This shit right here, the center frame. That's what it's about right there.
Sandy's looking adorable right there. Look at that.
Thank you.
Are you done with that? Are you done with that? What were you drinking? A dog?
Two Hearted. Bell's Two Hearted.
Oh, Bell's Two Hearted. What did I say? Bell's Two Hearted. Nice.
Hey, Sandy, did you have a big schedule that got killed? Were you booked? Did it really? Did you?
I was supposed to be out of town every weekend of April, except for one, and 2 weekends in March canceled. So yeah.
Man, bitch. Well, let's pour some out for canceled beers and canceled shows.
Let's just hope to make up for them. We get government beers and government stimulus.
Yes, I'm on that, man. We got to get those kegs. We got to rescue those kegs.
Show me
We're going to rescue those kegs.
Government wings.
That's nice.
Well, guys, I actually want to invite you guys to something fun that's good. A new beer goal we have that we're going to be doing Thursday. This is. Do you guys? I don't know if you do there in Texas. If you do beer, or I should say, bar trivia. So obviously, with all the bars and breweries closed, there's no more bar trivia. But my buddy Big Frito is going to be hosting a virtual bar trivia night. We're going to try to make it our new beer goals and make it a virtual nationwide bar trivia. And it's going to be here on Beer Goals. Big Frito's bar trivia this Thursday. It's going to be on Zoom. So you can email him at jonathanjournalism@gmail.com. Get the info, set up teams. We got teams from around the country. He was a big bar trivia guy in Boston, and so he's going to be putting that together now, and it's going to be a nationwide thing. Big Frito's bar trivia. So if you guys have a bar trivia team, come join Big Frito. It's going to be fun. Anybody can join. And they're like, oh, what's the capital of Wyoming? And I'm like, I got nothing. So but the people like the bar trivia. So if you like bar trivia, try. What is it?
I think it's Cheyenne.
Dude, my kid loves it.
Cheyenne is the capital. Okay, but yeah,
I'll
so
look
Big
it up.
Fritos bar
Ringer.
trivia this
Got a
Thursday.
ringer.
This Thursday. Yeah, exactly. Awesome.
That's awesome, man. My kid's a big fan. Like
All
every
right.
time he's out of school on Monday, we have to go to pub trivia on Sunday. Like my
Pub
11-year-old
trivia,
loves
yeah,
that shit.
yeah.
Yeah, my 11-year-old loves
I was
it. If he's out
right.
of school on a Monday, we have to go to pub trivia on Sunday.
You can't read it, probably. It says Cheyenne.
What I can't see it. What do you got, Sandy? No,
I was right. I was right.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, see, that's
Cheyenne. Good job,
That's
dude.
going to be the problem
You
with
go.
Zoom.
So we have the first
bar
winner of
trivias.
Big Fritos pub trivia.
Awesome.
People are going to
problem
look
with
it
Zoom
up.
bar
Yeah,
trivia
people like
is
Sandy are
everybody
going to be
can
cheating. I
do
know it.
No, I said the
Yeah.
right answer, and then I just confirmed that I was right.
You did say it. You did. You did say it. You said it beforehand. That's right. It's all right.
This
The
Zoom game
judges
is
say
gonna be the
you win.
highest
So you're the
scoring
first
bar
winner.
trivia ever.
My social media, because I'm being asked on the side. There were a few questions. I'm from the Detroit area in Michigan, and my social media are at
Yes.
Sandy Danto. My YouTube is /Sandy Danto, and my podcast is MFers, a parenting podcast. Phil, I got to have you on.
Yes. 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 We're both. We can talk parenting and MFers. I look forward to it.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Yes. Everybody check out
Jeramie.
Sandy.
Sandy, do you do your? Hey, dude, I'd love to do it, man. Do you do your podcast as a solo rant thing, or do you have somebody do it with her?
I used to have a co-host, but he's having another kid, and so in the spirit of not being spread too thin, it's just me hosting, but it's an interview show. Sometimes I do solo rants, but not very often.
Oh, cool.
Wait, so
Yeah.
he can't
right
do the
on.
parenting
Cool. No,
podcast
man,
because he's becoming a parent again. That's very ironic.
He's too busy parenting.
He's too busy parenting,
Yeah.
so he can't do his parenting podcast. I love it.
I'll
That's like me. I'm
subscribe to
too
his
busy.
daily
Exactly.
I'm too
animal
busy drinking. I'm too busy drinking. I can't be part of the beer podcast.
I'm trying to find the happy medium between parenting and drinking and
Oh,
brewing and all
Man,
that
this
is.
sad right here.
Well, speaking of which,
Oh.
I think I need to help my wife put my daughter to sleep.
Yes.
Who's putting your kid
All
to
right.
sleep right now?
I don't know.
You're
They're
in
on their own.
Texas,
They're
so
free range.
there's a separate
They're
time
free
zone. Your
range.
kids are probably in bed. Phil, who's putting your kids to bed right now?
They're free range. They're wandering. I don't know. The missus isn't. Yeah, so I should get out there and rescue. But thank you guys so much, Sandy. As always, I miss you, Sandy. I miss you.
Miss you too,
So
buddy.
thank you. So Jeramie, everybody check out Sandy on the Mother Effers podcast. Please go visit Jeramie at the Chug on YouTube and Facebook. And cheers from California to Texas. Thank you guys so much. Cheers to everybody in the comments. Thank you for watching. Follow, if you're watching this somewhere else, follow Beer Goals. And all right, cheers. This has been Drinking Buddies. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Woo!
Yeah, thanks, fellas. That was a good time, man. I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, that was
Cool,
great.
man. Good luck getting back.
All right,
Thank you.
cheers.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
Bye.